Greetings, this is the Desert Shaman, Thunder here. I'm going to do a video today on mantras. Somebody asked me about that. And so I thought, well, I'll make a stab at doing a whole video on mantras. What's a mantra? Well, I could sit here and probably take 6 videos, 6 hours or more. I could talk about mantras, the origins, and the whole ball of wax. I mean, there's so many different mantras. Well, what's a mantra? Again, it's a sound, okay? Just like we make when we're talking. Our speech is comprised of vowels and consonants and things of that nature, each having a different sound. So when you get into the term mantra, basically what it is a sound. It's an ancient sound from the Vedic scriptures, which is part of the Hindu mythology or philosophy. So mantras, I mean, there's so many different kinds and so many different mantras. It's unbelievable, really. But they're all important and they all have a purpose. So you have something. I'm just going to speak from the top of my head here and hope that some of this stuff will be valuable to you. You have what you call a bija, B-I-J-A mantra, or a seed mantra, which is basically, instead of a group of words or words grouped together, it would be a single word, okay, that represents a whole lot of things. So let's start with the basic mantra Om, and I've talked about that before. It's spelled O-M, but at other times you will see it spelled as A-U-M, because that helps you with the pronunciation. And here's another thing too. You would have to read a book, and I'm going to recommend a book to you people out there at some point in this video, and I'll show you the cover. You would have to get a book, and you would have to go through that book slowly and try to take in as much information as you can in regards to certain things like bija mantras and basic mantras and mantras for the different gods and goddesses, and the list is endless. Mantras for prosperity and healing, and mantras for your chakras, which are the energy centers, the 7 energy centers on the midline of your body. These sounds are not just like, oh, that's just a sound. No, these sounds they go way, way back, and they have a certain vibration to them. Let's remember about frequencies and vibrations, okay? So if you say something, each word that I say has a vibration, has a thought attached to it, has a meaning, has a picture in your mind, that type of thing. So if I say chair, immediately you get a picture of a chair in your mind. It might not be the chair I'm envisioning, but that picture comes to your mind. That is an object, okay? So you have the object and the subject is you, and the object is what you're saying, okay? And that's why they say things are subjective. So when you have words, okay, that have been used for thousands of years to, let's say, summon a certain goddess, right? Well, there's many goddesses and gods in the Hindu mythology, and each one of them has a purpose, Okay, each one of them has a purpose. Say like Kali, Kali. She is a protector, and there's other goddesses that are really all just Kali, because Kali comes from Shiva. And Shiva is the divine, one of the divine emanations, or some say the divine emanation. And many gods and goddesses and sons and daughters in the mythology can come from Shiva. Like, say, Ganesh, who is Shiva's son. So when you say a certain mantra, you have to bear with me here. I go off on little tangents just so you can get the whole big picture. When you say a mantra, let's say a mantra like Krim, which a lot of people would pronounce Krim, but it's not. The I is pronounced with an E. So it's cream, cream, cream. That's what that is, cream. Almost like it is spelled with two E's, Kreem. When you say that mantra, that represents the goddess Kali. And if you're in a deep meditation, you might want to summon her and her properties. One of her properties is protection, supreme protection. So each one of these sounds is linked to a certain thought or a certain god or a certain goddess or the divine emanation in whatever form, like whether it be Indra or Shiva. Indra is actually Shiva in the Vedic, the older Vedic belief, and then it kind of got transferred to mean Shiva. This stuff can be real complicated, but I'm going to try to make it simple. Yeah, they are symbols. You know, you actually have Sanskrit symbols for each one of these mantras, like the Om mantra. So the Om mantra is, it is said, is the mantra that created the world. It is the beginning of the world. It is the sound that put everything into motion from the divine source. That sound is something that is vibrating on a certain frequency in the universe all the time. And if you're real quiet, you can actually hear that sound. I have a little bit of mushroom broth here. Does wonders, mushroom broth. So the Om sound is the first sound of the world, basically. And if you even, there's even a passage in the Bible that says something like, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Many people have misinterpreted that to mean, it might mean Jesus or whatever. Actually, what that really means is that the original sound, Om, was the word of God. It was everything that put everything, it was the sound that put everything in motion. So we have all these surrounding energy and ether around us that is a 10,000 things or 10 million things, whatever your thought perceives it to be. We'll get into that more later. This is all connected, though. So let's say you picture an image of Tara, and Tara is a beautiful goddess, also an emanation of the divine. Sometimes in Chinese philosophy, she is known as Kuan Yin. But in Hindu philosophy, there are many Taras, the blue Tara, the red Tara, the white Tara. And every one of these is a beautiful goddess, a Dakini. And each one of them, basically, the Tara is linked with compassion and love and protection and nurturing, that type of thing. And so if you want to, let's say I wanted to invoke her energy to me, I would sit in my meditative posture, which I covered back in the consciousness raising series, which is also links in the description box on how to meditate and breathe and that type thing. If you're sitting in a lotus position, or just, with your back straight on a chair or whatever, and you're doing the breathing and you're moving the energy, which is prana or chi, if you use a mantra with that, it becomes all the more powerful. So if you're sitting there and you're breathing in and you're saying Om, we'll start with the most basic, Om, or it could be pronounced Aum or Om. You got to feel that vibration, and you got to picture in your mind going to the root source of that vibration. What is the root source of speech? What is the root source of the Om sound? Well, the root source is the highest source that you can go to, which is the divine emanation, or the immaculate consciousness, sometimes I call it. So when you say that sound, you are connecting directly with that consciousness. And you picture that consciousness in your head, or you can picture a goddess, but the goddess is the same as the supreme, because the goddess is a certain aspect or a certain vibration or a certain, I think aspect would be the best word, a certain aspect of the divine emanation. It's a Shakti, okay? And you've heard me talk about Shakti, which is the divine, one of the divine emanations, or the divine emanation in the goddess form from Shiva or Indra or Vishnu or whoever you may be talking about. So this is some concepts, that I'm just trying to convey to you in regards to what this is all about, okay? So every time you say a certain vowel or a certain frequency or a certain mantra, even if you say the letter A or E, those all have profound effects on your DNA and on your aura and on your energy pattern and all that stuff. So you can imagine what a very, very sacred mantra that's been used thousands of years, what kind of effect that's going to have on you, what energies that's going to summon, what feelings that will evoke in you, what attunement, what kind of attunement you will get. Because it's like a radio. So let's say I'm thinking of the goddess Tara, and one of the sounds for Tara, the basic sound is really Om, but you have Hrim, H-R-I-M, Hrim, and you have Trim, T-R-I-M, and you have Klim, K-L-I-M. And all of these can be interchanged with one another, and so you can form a group of these together preceded by the Om sound, and you get a certain effect, or you get a certain frequency going, or you contact that particular goddess energy. And mantras are basically used for well-being on a spiritual, mental, physical level. And they help with the circulation of the prana, or the chi. So let's say you're in a meditation and you're trying to invoke the kundalini energy or the serpent energy or the energy that moves up your spine, the energy of knowledge and wisdom and enlightenment. If you're trying to do that, it's very helpful to have a mantra with that, so that when you breathe in, you might go Om, and when you breathe out, Om. It's actually a continuous circular thing. Somebody once asked me, well, how do I say Om, or how do I say a mantra and breathe at the same time? Well, when you breathe out, Om, it's pretty easy, but when you start to breathe in, it's a little bit harder. So you don't do that. In fact, mantras aren't meant to be said out loud all the time. Mantras are meant to be chanted inwardly or subaudibly. So when you breathe in, you can say Om, and when you breathe out, you're saying Om. But it would be good to pronounce it first out loud before you start into that Om, just to get the vibration, just to get the feel, just to get what it feels like in your heart and your guts and your head, and Om. Feel that energy coming out, and feel and visualize that energy as a direct sound from God or goddess. Okay, it's a divine sound. It's the strongest sound in the world. Really, you don't need any, I mean, in my opinion, you don't need any other mantra than Om, because Om is all mantras. But it's nice to be able to sit down and picture different deities and different goddesses and summon them, summon their energy. Some will actually appear to you. I mean, when you get into a more advanced practice, and you've been doing it for years like me, you will actually see an emanation of the yogini. She will appear to you in some kind of brilliant light, whether it be an orb or just a pulsating blue bindu, the blue bindu being a reflection of the light that comes from your third eye. Some describe it as a pulsating, bright, shiny, yellowish star inside of a blue circle. That's why they call it the blue bindu, bindu. You can use mantras to open up the energy centers. In other words, for each energy center, there is a sound and there is a color. Okay. So let's say the heart chakra or energy center is a green color, and it has the seed sound or the mantra YAM, Y-A-M. Y-A-M. Yum. And I said before, when you do these things, the M is kind of pronounced Ming or Ming. So it's Young for the heart. Yum. Green. Rotating flower in the center here. Or if you have the base chakra, it would be Lam or Lum. And if you have the beneath the dantian, beneath the navel chakra, that's Vam, V-A-M, Vam. And then you have the solar plexus, which is yellow, Rum. Incidentally, the one beneath the navel is orange, and the base chakra is red, and the solar plexus chakra is yellow, and the heart chakra is green, and the throat chakra is blue, and the third eye is kind of an indigo. And then the crown chakra is kind of like a flash of light, kind of like white light with maybe a little bit of indigo mixed in with it, with just streaming out of the top of your head. So each one of these energy centers has a seed sound or a mantra. And when you're meditating and you're breathing and you're trying to move the energy, like I said in my consciousness raising videos, over the top of your head and down the front, that type of thing, you can actually chant each mantra for each energy center consecutive in a consecutive fashion, to where you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You move it all on up. You just try to energize your whole body with that sound. And again, I can't emphasize enough that the sound actually adds a fuel to the fire for the prana or chi to move more, because it's like you're calling it. You're calling it, okay? And let's not forget that these sounds have been done by yogis and yoginis, the yogini being the female yogi, have been done for thousands of years and have been taught to followers for thousands of years. And anytime that you get a ritualistic practice going, what does that do? Why do people do ritual? Because this is a form of ritual. Well, when you practice ritual, you're actually, what are you doing? You're an entity, okay? You're an emanation of the divine entity. You are a being. You are organic. You are you're physical, mental, and spiritual. You are a consciousness. Your consciousness is part of the consciousness of the Supreme Being. It cannot be apart from that. So when you're going through ritual, all these people have been for thousands of years, and they're invoking a certain spirit in the universe, does that ever end? When one person does that, no, it goes on forever and ever and ever. These people of these ancient lineages, yogis and yoginis, when they practice these rituals, it goes on forever and ever and ever. There is no such thing as time. So what happens when you start doing that? Well, when you start doing it, you become enjoined with or fused with that same energy that's been put out in the universe for thousands of years. You are now tuning into it. You are now, it's like a dial on a radio. You're tuning into that frequency. And how are you doing that? Well, you're tuning in with the sounds, the om, or the clean, or the hrim, or the a million others, okay? And then sometimes what you'll do is you'll have a mantra that is consecutive. I'm going to cover a lot of ground here quickly. You'll have and every mantra has to begin with the om sound, either silently in your head or in the actual mantra. So let's say you wanted to talk to the deity, the divine origin of the universe, the sun, the east, okay? If you wanted to talk to the spirit of that direction, Indra, you would do a mantra which goes as such. It starts with Om, and then it uses the base chakra mantra, Lam. So it's Om, Lam, and then you say Indra with a Ya at the end of it, Indraya, and then you say Nama, Nama. That's almost like calling out the name, okay? So the whole mantra would be Om Lam Indraya Nama. When you put out that vibration, when you put out that energy, it's going to immediately catch the attention of the deity Indra and of the supreme divine energies that come from that, and the energies, the goddess energies that are associated with that. So the female would be Indrani, okay, instead of Indraya. So these are things, like I said, there are so many things that I could talk about that, like I said, it would take video after video after video. I mean, so that's why I'm going to suggest, let me show a picture of this book right now so that you can see what that is. And I'll put a link. If not, you can just go to Amazon, type in the title. This is the book here, Mantra, Yoga, and Primal Sound, okay? And it's got a picture of Ganesh, which is the elephant-headed son of Shiva. And all these things this is a very kind, beautiful God that removes obstacles from your path. This book is by David Frawley, Dr. David Frawley. Mantra, Yoga, and Primal Sound. Secrets of the Seed Bija Mantras. That's an excellent book, so I highly recommend it. That's a very in-depth book. It's a very deep book, but I think the average layman can get enough out of it. I mean, there's all kinds of things like the spirit of the four directions who the Lakota pray to, but also there's the spirit of the four directions in the Hindu mythology. And you can say a mantra for each one of those. Like I just did the one for Indra, which is east, and then there's another one which is the consort of Indra, which is his weapon, okay, which is Vajra, okay. Vajra is a lightning bolt, and it comes from Indra, who is kind of like a thunder god. So I'm really have a kinship with that particular deity. But if you want protection, let's say somebody's attacking you, or you feel like you're getting negative energy from some certain direction, you can say a mantra of protection for that direction, or you could say several mantras covering north, west, south, east, okay, all of them, and you can say a corresponding mantra for the weapon of that, whatever that deity is. And all these deities have weapons. Believe me, they have weapons of protection, which is good because they're protecting you. They're not out to get you. They're out to get whoever is trying to get you, okay, on whatever level, whether it be the evil archon or, somebody sending you a bad vibe, like your mate or whoever, or a person that knows you and is sending you a bad vibe, or just any kind of negative feeling that you feel is coming from the universe. You can say these mantras, and you can actually give them emphasis, almost like with the cutting edge of a sword. These things are very powerful. I mean, people sometimes they talk about witchcraft and stuff like that. This witchcraft can't even touch this, okay? When you're talking about invocation, and I don't want you to get the idea that I think this is some kind of evil witchcraft. It's not. It goes way, 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 way beyond that, okay? But it is invocations, and it is sounds, and it is summoning, okay? But see, it's summoning energy to empower you. And you are ultimately that energy. You are that energy because you are God. You cannot be not God, okay? And when I say, and a lot of people get upset, how dare you say that you're God? Well, the dare is taken because I am God, and I am an aspect of God. just like we all are. We're all let's say, a fractal or a bubble or a spark of the complete consciousness that surrounds us all the time. We are that. I am that. There's a famous saying, thou art that, okay? Which means you are that. You are the flow of the energy of the universe. So what you're doing with mantras is you're having fun and you're playing with the energies of the universe. That's how you want to look at it. I don't like basically when people look at things like, I mean, this is just me, my opinion. Don't make it all dark, and you don't make it all like the religions of the world, like Christianity and Islam. Don't make everything so phony sacred, I guess the word I'm looking for. This phony sense of piety, this phony sense of humbleness, this phony whatever you want. The true creator and the goddesses and goddesses are about play. They're not about, yeah, I mean, it's serious, but it's play. It's divine play, lila. Okay, that's what it's called, lila. It's God playing through all of us, having fun. Now it's up to us to whether we want to take that energy that surrounds us or that energy that is us. It's up to us to clear the preconditioning in our heads so that we can allow that beautiful energy to come through and so that we can have anything we want in this life. There is nothing that is withheld from us except what we withhold from ourselves. There is no prosperity or health or anything that is withheld from us. What we do is we shut it off through our conditioning, through our mental conditioning, through our polluted mind, our polluted ego. So when we go into, let's say, a meditation process or a meditation and chanting or saying the mantras, you're tuning right into a frequency that's going to elevate your consciousness to another level. And you think I'm kidding, if you think I'm kidding about this, just do my consciousness raising exercise. Be still. Breathe into your abdomen, relax, and start saying this over and over again. Om. And start feeling the vibration and start feeling that you are that you are summoning the divine energy, which really doesn't need to be summoned. You're just opening up to it. It's all around us all the time. The goddesses and the dakinis and the aspects. See, what people don't realize about what they call God is that this God has a million different aspects that you wouldn't even know about, okay? All kinds of different aspects, the destroyer, the creator, the soother, the calmer, the healer. There's so many aspects of the energy. Which aspect do you want to call to you? Which aspect do you want to summon? You want to summon all of them because all of them, none of them are bad. Let's say Kali, that I described in another video, who's the goddess with the head cutter and the sword and holding up the severed head and wearing a garland of skulls, and all of that stuff that scares a lot of people has deep, deep meaning about protection, has a story behind it. And the story's beautiful. It really is. And the story, and each goddess like Tara or Sundari or Chinnamasta or any number of goddesses, they all have a story and they all have an energy and they all have a output, and they all can be used to your benefit. Let them use you and you use them. I mean, it's a circular thing. Okay, and you can even have Tantra. You can have Tantra. You can have what I call yoga or divine union with these entities on a much higher level, on an energy level. You're uniting with them. And you are blessed by them, and you are healed by them, and you are looked over by them, and they can be your companions, or they can be a lot of friends. See, that's why I don't need a lot of friends. I got millions of friends, okay, all around me. It's just a matter of calling out their name and saying, yes, I acknowledge that you're there. So mantra is another form of doing that. It's like calling your friends in for a council or a union, okay, between you. It's a beautiful thing. It's a joyous thing. It's a wonderful thing. People are not used to feeling the subtle energies, the prana and the chi, and they're not used to seeing emanations appear right before their very eyes. Okay, this is entirely possible because I do this all the time. And these emanations appear to me, and there's just this radiant light and energy and feeling coming from them. And they talk to me on a very high telepathic level. Okay, this is what comes when you tune in, like the yogis and the yoginis do, when you tune into all these various subtle energies and the prana and the chi, and you repeat certain mantras, sounds. I can't emphasize enough that each sound, that's why they say words can either destroy you or they can lift you up. Words have a very, very strong power. Because what are words? Words are just letters, and each letter has a sound. Say like the word dog or cat, okay? C-A-T, and so when you start getting into the mantras, you start realizing how important each syllable, each word, each letter is, okay? And that book will help you out with that because it tells you how to make the different sounds. And then here's another thing too. If you go on YouTube and type in, let's say, cream or the mantra cream, K-R-I-M, well, immediately one of these beautiful people out there has done, most of them come from India, have done a beautiful musical thing with the mantra repeating over and over and over again. Okay? And it's done with sitars and beautiful music, and it's very devotional. It's very beautiful. So I suggest that if you want to learn a mantra, go on there and say, type in mantra Om, or type in mantra for Tara, or type in the mantra Cream, K-R-I-M, or Hreem, H-R-I-M, and immediately you'll get all kinds of videos popping up, musical, or let's say vibrational, beautiful sound and stuff with sitars, like I said, and different Indian instruments, and they're chanting the word over and over and over again, slowly, so you can get a sense of what that word, how that word should be pronounced. That's really a good way to do that. So I suggest that, and I suggest getting the book that I just showed you. I also suggest you getting my book while I'm at it at spiritofcrazyhorse.com or Gumroad or whatever. All the links for Spirit of Crazy Horse and place you can get my books are down in there. And for these other books, I told you how to search YouTube. And for the other book by Frowley, you can just go back and look at the video and see the title and type it into Amazon. I don't even need the link. You should do a little work. Shouldn't be so easy for you, because you should be able to do research and pull things up that you need to in regards to your spiritual advancement. So, like I said, I mean, I could wax on here for hours and hours and hours. I mean, I get inspired just talking about it. And you can tell that because I go off on all different kinds of tangents that are associated with it, like object, like I mentioned earlier. And I might want to just touch on this a little bit because I've been thinking about it. The objective and the subjective. Well, what is the subjective? The subjective is your view. Or it can also mean your projection, okay? Because when you see a chair, that chair is in you. It's not outside of you, it's in you. So when you think of a chair, there it is, okay? You're instantly manifesting, you're instantly projecting all the time. People don't realize that, see? They're doing miracles every second of every day. Every time you look around and you see a desk or a chair, that desk or a chair had to be in your mind first to be projected out into the ether, the soup, the divine vibrations. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, these vibrations, these mantras. Everything is a vibe. Everything's a frequency. Everything is already existing. Only you give it form. That's why they call you a co-creator. Because you give it form. Your thoughts give this thing form. What if you were a baby, or what if you still had a baby's mind, didn't even know what a chair was? Would you be projecting a chair? Not really. That's why, that's why it is said many times, unless you become as a child, you will not enter into the kingdom of God. Well, that's a metaphor. If you look at somebody like Paramahansa Yogananda, one of my gurus, if you look at what he said, everything in the Bible is taken in a wrong. Everything is a metaphor. Everything is to be looked at in a different light. He actually reinterpreted the whole gospel. Paramahansa did. And it was a beautiful thing. So, yeah, just a little bit of insight today, on mantras. And I know I started off kind of slow. I hope people bear with me here. But if you appreciate what I do, then go check out my books at Spirit of Crazy Horse, and there's links in there to Gumroad where you can get the PDF and stuff like that. So I appreciate any support I can get for the knowledge that I disperse to you, or try to, for my purpose as a wisdom keeper, to divulge some of the stuff that I know. And believe me, there's people that know a lot more than I do, and there's people that have been in this stuff as a discipline to where they're actually do nothing else. They do nothing else. But the left-hand path says you don't need to get so pious, or maybe another word would be the right-hand path, where you take things really, really seriously. Well, you can take things really seriously anyway without putting on a show about it, or putting on... It's just like, praying in public. Why would you pray in public? There's no need to go and kneel at a church and pray in public. That is done mostly for others, not for yourself. These mantras they're like prayers, only they're stronger. They're direct. It's like plugging into a socket of a certain current that is a direct connection to the divine. And so you should use this stuff to your benefit. Start off slow. Have fun with it. Just start off, like I said, with the Om sound, which is the father and mother of all sounds. Okay. And that's why the Hindu considers speech so sacred. Okay. And everything that you say that comes forth from your mouth is a vibration, it's an idea, and it's an energy. So that's why you should say good things to your spouse or whoever and send out positive energy all the time. It'll just be circular and it'll come back, and even if it doesn't, it's all right. I'm going to leave it there today. I think I've said enough, so hopefully this video will help you, and any comments on it is always appreciated. All right. Adios.